Ms. Oliphant, I have to sound like a scratch record because I have to keep on apologizing that we are running behind schedule. And I hope you will accept our apology as the committee. Unfortunately, this is a multi-party process, and I have to make sure that all the members are given adequate time to ask their questions and to get answers from you. So we apologize on that, and these processes do tend to take time. Ms. Oliphant, what we are going to ask you to do is, as communicated with you, you have 10 minutes to present your case. And after that, the members are going to ask questions. And I shall use my own discretion. Sometimes members can ask too many questions at the same time. And the intention is not to confuse you. So I would sometimes, get you to respond if I feel that, the answer is required for the member to be able to probe further. Okay. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, honorable members. Thank you very much. As you all know by now, my name is Jill Oliphant. Back. In terms of the instructions that we received to present on the objectives of this presentation is to demonstrate an understanding of the knowledge, the role, function of the public protector. Against that background, the governing legislation is the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa and the Public Protector Act.
Chair, can you request her to speak up, please?
Your voice is very soft. So if you can speak direct to the mic so that everybody can hear what you are saying. Thank you, ma'am.
Would you like me to repeat what I've said earlier? Is this better? Is this clearer?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I've simply highlighted the provisions I regarded as important for purposes of this presentation in terms of the relevant legislation which I identified earlier is the Constitution and the Public Protector Act. In terms of Section 181 of the Constitution, it provides for the establishment of institutions known as Chapter 9, institutions of which the Public Protector is one, and provides for the impartiality and independence and prescribes that all functions are to be exercised and performed without fear, favor, and prejudice. The functions of the Public Protector are prescribed in Section 182 of the Constitution and states it provides for an investigation into any conduct in state affairs or the public administration in any sphere of government alleged or suspected of being improper or which will result in prejudice, also to report on that conduct and to take appropriate remedial action. It's not mentioned in the slide, but I believe it's important to mention that Section 181(3) of the Constitution also prescribes that all organs of state must be accessible to protect Chapter 9 institutions to ensure that they retain their independence. The next piece of legislation is the Public Protector Act, which provides for the establishment of the Public Protector and is read together with Section 193 of the Act. Section 6(4) of the Public Protector Act provides for the additional powers, and this is read together with Section 6(5). It also provides for additional powers to investigate maladministration in relation to affairs of government at any level, abuse or unjustifiable exercise of power, unfair, improper conduct, or undue delay by a person performing a public function, improper or dishonest act or omission of offences referred to in the Prevention of Combating of Corrupt Activities Act, improper or unlawful enrichment or receipt of any improper advantage or promise of such enrichment or advantage, an act or omission by a person performing a public function which results in unlawful or improper prejudice to another. Section 6(5) of the Act is very similar, except provides for the same investigation, except that that extends to any entity in which the state is the controlling, has a controlling a majority shareholder, or any other public entity which is defined in the Public Finance Management Act. Having identified the legislation which I believe to be important, I've just a synopsis of the role and function of the Public Protector. I've stated that underlying the powers of the Public Protector as provided in the Constitution and Public Protector Act is the need to ensure that we live in a country where there exists a practice of authentic democracy. And when I talk about authentic democracy, I'm talking about where the principles of fairness, equality, responsibility, accountability, control of abuse of power, and an awareness and acceptance that nobody is above the law prevails. The creation of positive change towards the protection of our people from abuse of power, unfair and improper decision-making, encouraging and promoting of ethical and authentic leadership, and an effective and efficient administration, and an institution whose primary focus is to eliminate corrupt practices, abuse of power, improper conduct, so promoting the development of a society which lives true to the principles upon which our Constitution is founded. The expectations and needs to be fulfilled, and acceptance and belief by our South African citizens that the Office of the Public Protector will properly, fully, fairly, and timelessly investigate complaints and concerns reported or referred to the office, is positively contributing towards crime prevention, crime reduction, elimination and reduction of corrupt practices, activities, and abuse of power, is contributing towards building a society where integrity, honesty, social justice, and ensuring the maintenance of fundamental rights are primary, so ensuring that the needs of South Africans are met and not the achievement of personal goals and objectives of any individual. Enforcing the principles of fairness, transparency, accountability, and responsibility. Is promoting and ensuring that high levels of ethical conduct is practiced in every sphere of government. And I believe that once such acceptance exists and is present, this leads to the rebuilding of confidence that we are all equal before the law and that nobody is above the law. How do we fulfill those needs and expectations? It's a complete acceptance that our people come first, an acceptance that the office is available and accessible to all who feel or believe that they have been aggrieved, prejudiced, or that there's been an injustice, a willingness and passion to contribute towards positive changes and the enhancement and betterment of our country to ensure economic growth and sustainability.
Ms. Oliphant, can you also try and bring it closer to you, the mic?
Sure. Demonstrating true impartiality.
That's better.
And independence to ensure that the confidence and trust in the institution is maintained. A willingness to understand the diversity within the country, the different needs and expectations, and an appreciation of the differences which will enhance collaboration and cooperation amongst all organs of state and public entities while still maintaining independence. Meeting those expectations, meeting everybody's expectations is always a difficult challenge and sometimes impossible, but nonetheless, I believe armed with passion and commitment to complete all tasks assigned, enthusiasm towards challenges, big or small, because challenges feeds growth, development and learning, self-awareness and an ability to evaluate individual strengths, weaknesses, limitations and influence, an ability to fully assess and evaluate situations, viewpoints and opinions before making a decision, making decisions premised on ethical behavior with due regard and consideration to the greater whole, for the greater good, and to act in accordance therewith. Believe that the above attributes will contribute positively to the achievement of the objectives of the Office of the Public Protector, ensuring the functions and duties are completed efficiently and effectively. I've made much reference to ethical behavior and ethical leadership, and I thought it important to mention that the definition of ethical leadership is defined by the Center for Ethical Leadership is knowing your core values and having the courage to live to them in all parts of your life in service of the common good. And believe that one cannot more aptly state what is required from the Public Protector to ensure that his or her role and function is fulfilled without fear, favor, or prejudice. The moral and value system, I've been requested to address it In addressing this question, consideration was given to what guides and drives me and what I consider meaningful and purposeful. My driving force has always been to make a difference, to find solutions, and to add real value. However, I do believe that we all have an obligation to contribute to society and to the country in which we live. I believe this goal has been achieved in many different shapes and forms, largely due to my moral and value system being based on integrity, doing what is right and honorable, respect for others, rules, law, and society, a belief in equality, fairness, and justice, responsibility and accountability, commitment to growth, development, and motivation of others, courage, and resilience. I've also been asked, and ensure that I haven't missed a slide, to deal with my skills and experience. I've been in the profession since 1995. I was admitted as an attorney in 1997. I was admitted as a conveyancer in 1998. Admitted as a notary in 2000. Completed my LLM in 2005. I'm in the process of completing my MBA through Regenyses Business School. I completed my BProc at UNISA as well as my LLM. And I've been in practice with the current firm since starting my articles in 1995. We've been very fortunate in the firm in which I've practiced in that we've been exposed to a wide range of law ranging from litigation, commercial and business law, labor law, liquidations, insolvency, business rescue, property-related matters, and public administration law. As mentioned, I started my articles on the 1st of October 1995. Prior thereto, I was employed within the Nedbank Group in various departments and divisions. I also serve as the Registrar of the Anglican Diocese of Johannesburg.
Excuse me, Ms. Oliphant, you have 2 more minutes to
Sure.
go.
One of the founding members of one of the first solely black-owned companies formed to assist and promote the development of women in business. I'm an advisor and previous director of Grayston Preparatory School. Sat on various tribunals for the Anglican Church, and I preside as a commissioner of the Small Claims Court in Randburg. The rest just deals with legislation which I was involved in, co-presented to government in respect of business rescue, co-author of Management's Daily Guide to Corporate Law, provide assistance and advice to various public entities, and I've been involved in various due diligence and forensic investigations for various entities. While I believe I can fulfill the role of a public protector, the role carries with it many responsibilities. However, somebody mentioned earlier, they said I'm a believer, and I said I'm a firm believer and champion of equality and fairness, in helping others in need, correcting wrongs caused to others, in living a purposeful and meaningful life, in growth, development, and training, in valuing others holistically, in open, fair communication, in collaboration, in ethical behavior and authenticity. I believe that I'm armed with passion, integrity, commitment, loyalty, courage, and resilience. I believe in the Constitution. And to end it off, as I'd mentioned, I've given a definition for ethical leadership, but I think authentic leadership is also important. And the definition, it's been said to be, is knowing oneself, being oneself, and remaining true to oneself. And I believe that I'm an authentic leader. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You're done.
I am. Thank you, Honorable.
Okay. Members, there you are. Let me see your hands. Please raise them, because I don't want you to accuse me of not seeing you. Okay, I'm going to start from there, from Honorable Mwabe, then Honorable Swart, Honorable Kornoff, Honorable Van Dam. Honorable Masondo, do you have your hand up? No. Okay. Then Honorable Bongo, then Honorable Hon, and Honorable Tseke, then Honorable Maisela and Motab. If you could kindly take the notes, ma'am, but if at any stage, although I've given all of them the chance, if at any stage I feel that the questions are too many, I will actually give you the opportunity to respond, and I can take the others in the next round, okay?
Thank you.
Over to you, Honorable Mwam.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Ms. Oliphant.
Good afternoon.
My name is Sibosiso Mncwabe. Just a short question. I would like to know, in your own view, what are the current challenges or risks facing the Office of the Public Protector? And how can those challenges be addressed? Say, we recommend you for that position. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Swan.
Thank you very much, Chair. Ms. Oliphant, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
You have an extensive and impressive background in law in the private sector, and I see you have been involved in forensic investigations, due diligence. In your response to the parliamentary questions, you did go into some of the aspects and challenges in the Public Protector's Office. If I can refer you to page 7, where you indicate that the Office of the Public Protector is dependent upon efficient and adequate resources, including appropriate skills, experience, financial resources, and infrastructure. Then you refer to the 4,700 matters held at the Public Protector's Office which require investigation, and you say the only inference that can be drawn from this is that the office currently lacks the capacity and resources required to meet the current demand, a situation which should give rise to concern. Now, bearing in mind that there are financial constraints, Parliament appropriates funds. Should you be appointed as the Public Protector, how would you go about to address those constraints? That's the first question. Then secondly, how would you see, you've had a lot of experience with drafting of legislation, so you must have been involved with parliamentary processes as well. How would you see the relationship between the Public Protector and Parliament, considering the Public Protector is an independent institution, but it is accountable to Parliament and the Justice and other committees? That is the second question. Just give us an indication of how you see that independence operating within our constitutional environment. And then you very kindly also disclosed an issue relating to Sun City, which I think is correct, and you might want to just touch and explain exactly what happened there, because I'm sure other members will also raise that issue,
Sure.
which you disclosed from your side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Kuranov.
I think Honourable Swart mentioned the Sun City incident. You know, I think it was clumsily, very, clumsy put in that paragraph. So I think you need to explain that a little bit more. And it's difficult for me to bring a casino and the Anglican Church, together. So if you can say, are you now properly Anglican, or are you out of the casino into the church, or where are you?
Sure.
Okay. Honorable Van Dam.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Ms. Oliphant.
Afternoon.
I think being Public Protector requires a specific skill set. It requires specific qualifications, and I think you probably have those. But I also think it requires other personality traits. It requires you to be firm, to be strong, to be principled, to be able to withstand sustained political attacks. Do you think you have those personality traits? Do you consider yourself a strong person, a principled person, a person who will stand firm on principle in the face of attacks? And then also, can you give me an example of when you were under a lot of attack, but you stood firm on principle, specifically in your work life? The other colleagues have asked about the Sun City incident. Could you also just appraise us on the incident of the reckless driving charge that was withdrawn? Can you just allay our minds about that and just give us detail about what happened? Thanks.
How are we doing? Do you want it to respond to these questions, or you want me to proceed, Ms. Oliphant?
I think I should respond and then move on.
Okay. Let me give you this opportunity. Thank you.
If I've missed any of the questions, you can just stop me and then I'll answer.
Kindly speak close to the
Sure.
mic. Your voice is too soft.
If I understood the first question correctly was how can the current challenges be addressed within the office, is that correct? The challenges which I identified and made reference to in the questionnaire was probably in respect of, was in respect of the resource capacity and financial challenges. Much of that I know from obviously reading the news. I'd also had, I wouldn't say a detailed assessment, but a brief assessment of the strategic plan for March 2016. Those challenges were identified as additional training to increase investigative capacity. There was also the regional offices that had changed. And the great concern was, with those challenges and the resource or lack of resource and capacity, was the effectiveness and efficiency of the office, or the effect that it would have on the effect and efficiency of the office, which in my reading and in my assessment, I agreed that it would have a bearing on the manner in which investigations are dealt with, because I believe that there is an obligation to deal with the concerns not only efficiently and effectively, but also timelessly. And with the lack of resources, it's going to be negatively impacted upon. How to address those challenges is always very difficult when it comes to, because a lot of it's going to stem from a lack of finance or financial resources. It's always very difficult, but there's obviously in need of different initiatives. And when one has a look at the Constitution and we understand the Constitution, it's adopted to heal the divisions of the past, but it also says that our country is here for all. And to deal with those inequalities and the unfairness as a country, one of those initiatives is hopefully to form some form of partnership with business or the private sector, because it's the country as a whole that will benefit from an effective and efficient service from this office, because what we do need is the elimination or curtailing corruption, improper practices, corrupt practices, because these very practices is what jeopardizes our democratic values. It jeopardizes a stable and secure society, which we all want to prevent. In answer to, I may have addressed your first question as well. Relationship between my involvement in drafting the legislation, we worked closely at the time with Enver Daniels, the state law advisor. He was the state law advisor at the time, and this was due to various discussions that we had with the Department of Justice before the Companies Act, or the new Companies Act. We, through the firm, we proposed that we have a form of business rescue in provisional liquidation, because at the time, which was in 2003, at the time there was a high level of liquidations, and our concern was that liquidations was leading to unemployment, and we said unemployment has a ripple effect in the economy. So we put forward various proposals to the Department of Justice and to the Master's Office, and the recommendation was that we draft a bill incorporating business rescue provisions, which was lacking in our law at the time. And we were also the view that judicial management did not serve the purpose for which it was intended, and certainly wasn't putting an end to liquidations. Most judicial managements ended up in liquidations. So we drafted that legislation together with Enver Daniels. So I haven't really had any interaction, etc., with Parliament, and this is all new to me. But as far as the independence is concerned, is the Office of the Public Protector its function is to be independent and is to be impartial, but there's got to be a level of corroboration and cooperation between the various departments and spheres of government and this office, because we all wanting to achieve a common goal. And that common goal is that we all live in a society where our rights are protected, we're all equal before the law. And I believe that through consultation and participation, while still maintaining your independence, that is possible. As far as the Sun City incident is concerned, it was most unfortunate. I remain the registrar of the Anglican Diocese. It's a position that I fill voluntarily to the church. I do that largely because my father was an Anglican priest, and when I was approached by the bishop at the time, Bishop Brian Jamont, he asked me to assist him, particularly from a legal perspective, to provide advice, sometimes to the parishioners, to the diocese as well, all part of public service. I agreed to do that. The incident at Sun City was, I had taken my daughter away and a friend at one of the midterm breaks or holidays, school holidays, and my husband and I had gone into the casino, and you go and gamble in the casino. I gambled on the machines, and there was a phone left at the machine, at one of the machines, and I picked it up after playing, and I'd given it to my husband, and I said to him, before we leave the casino, please hand it in to Lost and Found. But before leaving the casino, and while we were still gambling, one of the security guards or somebody approached and accused me of stealing or taking it, and I said, well, first of all, you're questioning exactly what happened, you questioned my integrity, and I got angry. And I suppose because I got that angry, they wanted me to sign a form which I refused to do because I didn't do anything wrong. I trust that explains the incident. Did you have any other questions, sir?
Okay, Honorable Van Dam asked a question. Yes. Would you like to respond to that one, or would you like her to repeat that question?
I would like you to repeat it if you don't mind. Thank you.
In a nutshell, I basically asked whether you think you have the personality traits required for the office of the public protector, besides all the qualifications and the experience. I think to be public protector, you need to have a certain personality traits. You need to be quite firm, quite strong, be able to withstand attacks from political parties, from politicians. So do you think you have those skills, those personality traits, actually? And then also I asked about the withdrawal of the reckless driving charge.
Okay, before you proceed, it might be opportune at this stage that, because the first question that she asked you is relevant to what I also wanted to get from you. You've said Parliament is a new area for you.
Correct.
And one of the major roles or functions of the public protector is to be able to investigate instances of maladministration, corruption, you name it. And in order for you to be able to do that, you have to understand how government work, because all these things, if they happen in that area, if you don't understand how government works, it might actually it might impact on your effectiveness. So I think I'm just going along those lines to say, do you understand government? Over and above what Honorable Van Dam has asked you, do you understand government? Do you have the grasp of government, given the fact that you've said Parliament is a new area for you?
Honourable Chair, I couldn't tell you the exact mechanics, but my understanding, I understand the structure of government, the mechanics as to how it operates within and what happens within Parliament. I wouldn't be able to honestly tell you that I do, because it's all new to me. I've been in public, in private practice for 21 years In fact, the date that this office opened on the 1st of October 1995 was the day I started my articles. And I've been at the same firm since then. But I understand that we have Parliament, we have the legislation, the executive. Understand we have the three spheres of government. We look at national, provincial, and local. So I understand the structures. As far as the law is concerned, I've been exposed to law and legislation for the last 21 years. As far as investigations are concerned, we've done a fair amount of investigations for public entities, for different divisions within public entities. I don't believe I'm at liberty to make reference to those public entities because they were clients of our firm and will retain the confidentiality. But I've also done a large amount of investigations on a forensic level as well, in terms of insolvency and liquidation law, where we've had to do investigations into companies and the acts of directors in terms of the relevant provisions of the Companies Act, which is 417, where I conducted the investigations and also conducted the actual inquiry in terms of Section 417 for the formulation of claims for the estate, for those particular companies in liquidation, for the purpose of recovering monies for the benefit of creditors. So I do have those investigative skills, and as I said, I have been exposed to law and legislation for the last 21 years. As far as my character and personality is concerned, I think that I'm a person of conviction. I believe that I'm courageous, and I believe that I'm a principled person. I also believe that I am resilient. I'm not going to back down easily, and I believe in ethical conduct and behavior and being able to distinguish between right and wrong. As I said, I do believe that I'm an authentic leader, which says knowing oneself, being oneself, and remaining true to oneself. And I think that when guided by those principles, despite the challenges and the harassment and the fights that we may be faced with, I do believe that I'll be able to overcome them. It's always very difficult because the matters that we've been involved with, in every matter, I've been involved in a lot of litigation, a lot of contentious litigation. Please bear in mind that when I started in this profession in 1995, there were very few black female attorneys, and also in insolvency law. It was very difficult getting into the profession. It was difficult being respected as an attorney in the profession, but you overcome those challenges, and the harder you work at it, and you soon prove that you're able to actually do the job, and you gain the respect and recognition over a period of time. It's very difficult to give you specific examples because my examples will relate to specific clients, but which, as I said, I'm not at liberty because of confidentiality, but I believe that I have fought every particular fight that I could fight in the best interest of my client to get the best possible result for my client or clients, yes.
Was your latter part of the question answered? You happy? Because there was that specific one on that drunk driving.
It wasn't drunk.
Yeah,
It
that
wasn't drunk.
one. I think it's important. See, this is broadcast live, and I'm sure people at home want to hear what is this story.
No, it certainly wasn't drunk. It was in the middle of the day. In fact, it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was on my way to fetch my daughter from school at a particular intersection. I had stopped at that intersection, but it's a dangerous intersection, and in support of that, I'd actually got a traffic forensic expert to do a report. There's a blind spot on the intersection, and I had crossed, and it's a dual road. I'd crossed the road, and I didn't see a guy on the left side, and I'd gone off to the left side, which is the slow lane, thinking that was the safe lane to be in, but because I didn't see him, I'd nearly hit him. I didn't, and there was a reservist driving behind him. And when she witnessed that, she said that it was reckless and negligent driving. I think the car conduct was a little irrational. in my view and with my biased view, was not reckless and negligent driving. However, she put me through the entire system. I got my reports. There was no conviction on the reckless, and in fact, there was no criminal matter. The matter didn't proceed.
No, thank you. Honorable members, I had Bongo here, I had Honorable Hon. I also have Tseke, I also have Maisela, I have Motapo, and I saw Floyd intimidating me now. I'm not sure if he wants to speak.
No, I was raising my hand for you to recognize me.
Okay,
It's not called
so
intimidation.
you are going to come after.
Now I'll come on the next round. Yeah. It's called raising your hand. It's not intimidation. Yeah.
Okay, Honorable Shivambo, explanation accepted. You are going to come after Honorable Motapo. Thank you. Then after Shivambu, it will be you, Honorable Masondo.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I appreciate the information I find in the CV. I have few questions. One, it relates to Section 181 of the Constitution of the Republic. It says the incumbent will be expected to act without fear, favor, or prejudice. I want you to share with the panel what is your understanding of that clause of the Constitution. And the second one will be this post in terms of the Public Protectors Act. It requires that the incumbent must be fit and proper. So I want your clear comment on one, the comments by the Corruption Watch that you have about 9 active business interests. I would want to comment on that. But secondly, your comment on why didn't you put the charge on the reckless and negligent driving on the questionnaire itself, despite the fact that it was withdrawn? Why was it not generally disclosed to the committee? Because that borders around fit and properness of your candidacy. I think I can stop stop there for now. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Hon.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. Yes, much have been said about your involvement for 21 years now in private practice and dealing mainly with commercial law and private law. Can you inform the committee what your understanding is of the main duties the Public Finance Management Act will place on you as the head of the Office of the Public Protector?
Nice and crisp, Honorable Hon. Honorable Tseke.
Thank you very
Honorable
much.
Tseke.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good afternoon, Ms. Oliphant. My question relates to, in our country, we've got 3 arms of the states, being the legislature, your executive, and the judiciary. So my question relates to the legislature. Suppose you are appointed as a public protector in this country, and a complaint and allegation of financial impropriety against a public office bearer of the national legislative arm is brought before your office. How would you respond to such a complaint? And the second question, Chair, I saw you have been participating in different projects of giving back to the underprivileged communities. Can you share with us all those projects and how are they benefiting the underprivileged? And then the other issue, we are facing a very huge challenge of financial constraints in this country, and most of the regional offices of public protectors are closed down. And, majority of our people down there in the rural areas, are struggling to access the services of the public protector. And what is your response on that matter? Given the fact that we have provincial offices, but they are very far from our own communities. Thank you very much, Chair.
I agree with that question, Honorable Zeke. Honorable Maisel?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to ask you to explain one or two things to me. I will quote what you said, that, quote, I have always been and remain a champion of equality and fairness, as these principles are indicative that all rules apply equally to all and not just a few. However, improving the lives of others and creating positive change is dependent upon effective, diligent, transparent, corrupt-free, accountable, and responsible administration. Close quote. I think you are familiar with these three words: freedom, equality, and fraternity. All right? That's what you are trying to say in these two paragraphs. And I thought that you know the problem of the people who eat cakes, right? Yeah, you do understand these words, freedom, equality, fraternity, were said by people who eat cakes. The question of the cakes. Oh, Marie Antoinette, if you don't remember.
You
Now, I thought
understand
that-
that cakes?
Yeah,
Okay, no,
Yeah.
you can proceed. I just wanted to make sure that you understand.
yeah,
Okay, proceed, Honorable Member.
I thought that it is the question of resources, not all these nice words of fraternity, and also that brings about justice. And Marie Antoinette's head was cut in the guillotine because he said that the people who wanted bread, why don't they eat cakes? When they were saying we want bread, he said, well, he doesn't say a reason why they don't eat cakes. So all these things, I think let's not misunderstand the question of corruption busting and justice, okay? They are two different things. But for now, let it go. It's not your fault. It is a whole big question of socialization of people and understanding real realities out there, not just in the book. But it's not your fault. Like I said, you merely know all these things that have been said and that we live through, and we forget about the resources. We just say, well, if we bust corruption, how is it going to help me if I have no bread to eat? Whether you bust 100 corrupt people or 1,000, how is it going to help me when I have nothing to eat? So I don't want to say, get involved in maybe trying to prosecute some things in the back way. All I say is that let us look about the real question of what it is that will make us a cohesive nation and not different people with different aspirations and different means. So that is the major question here that I would like you to explain to me, whether actually you understand what I was trying to say to you now. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Dr. Honorable Member Maisela. Can we go to Honorable Motap?
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Ms. Jill Oliphant. Honesty and integrity are one of the inherent qualities in public protector position. So, according to information at my disposal, there is this cell phone issue at Sun City, which I'll request you to unpack to this committee. What transpired, why, and so forth.
Honorable member,
Eh.
that question she did answer.
did
Were you
answer.
not happy with the response?
No, I didn't hear because she's speaking so soft.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
mind- I don't mind repeating the
She did
explanation.
respond
no.
to that one. Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's
And-
fine. You may proceed, member.
Another thing is thank you, Chair. Maybe it's because she's speaking very soft. Another thing is the issue of you have qualification, a very promising legal profession as a notary and a conveyancer, besides being admitted as an attorney. And a 21 years experience in the legal field. Why do you want to leave the practicing as an attorney, notary and conveyancer and come to and be considered for this position of a public protector? Thank you.
Honorable Shivambu.
Thank you very much, Chair. In the responses of Ms. Oliphant to what are the key challenges that are confronting South Africa, she says primarily it's corruption and allegations of state capture. I want to know, what do you mean by state capture? Because it's arising now out of the reality that there's a Gupta family that has colonized a president of the ANC, and that is how it got to take center stage in South African society. Is that what you are referring to when you speak about state capture as a major challenge? And you mentioned a lot of business partnerships as a panacea to some of the challenges that are confronting the public sector. I'm not sure if I understood you properly, because if that is the case, I think you're misplaced, because there's too much corruption that is committed by businesses, particularly the multinational finance institutions and corporations that are existing in South Africa. They are responsible for theft of billions of rands from our country through tax avoidance and mispricing. There's lots of illustrations that show that South Africa is losing a lot of money to that, but you seem to be leaning towards a business-driven solution outside of... Then the other issue which you asked before to other people was the issue of accessibility of the public protector. The public protector has got about 20 site offices all over the country. Now there is 54 districts in South Africa and more than 200 municipalities. So if you are a public protector, how are people of Makudi Tamaka going to have access to the public protector? They do not have internet, they are poor, they are jobless, but they can see that there is instances of abuse of public office by their local officials there. How will they access the office of the public protector when you are there? And the funding model, like when we asked the incumbent public protector about the same situation, she would point to the fact that there isn't enough money to finance the expansion to all corners of South Africa. How are you going to deal with that situation? The last issue is on the incident of Sun City. I'm not interested of what happened with the misplacement of the phone. You say you were gambling when that was happening. Do you think we would be fair to South Africa if we appoint a gambling public protector? And then we say that we're appointing a public protector who gambles. It will, maybe you must advise us, you must tell us what do we do? Sure.
Sure.
What is the point of order, member?
Since this morning, Honorable Shivambo has been referring to the president of this country as the president of the ANC every now and then. He is both the president of ANC and the president of this country. ANC won 62.5% in the national and provincial election. So why not recognize the president? as the president of the country.
Honorable member, I hear you. Sometimes you elevate a point that would have gone unnoticed by bringing it to the notice of everyone. Can we proceed? Honorable Masondo.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Mine really is an slight elaboration on Honorable Bongo's question. Firstly, I just wish to congratulate Honorable Oliphant. Her honor, Jill Oliphant, for the 9 companies. But what I like to have just briefly clarified, and I don't want the details, I just want a high-level summary of what do these 9 companies do? No, not the details, but just very, very briefly and quickly. And having got that information, it will be very useful just to find out if the observation of Crime Watch, they talk about the discrete intelligence report, and that report does not reveal any concerning risk indicators, whether she can just briefly confirm that. And lastly, whether she can say in a word or two, what will her participation, supposing she gets appointed as a public protector, what will her participation in the process of being a public protector bring to the table? Just in a few words.
Thank you. Over to you, ma'am. You have 8 minutes to respond to these questions.
Yeah.
And if you can also, as you respond, towards the end, if you can leave us the punchy message that you wanted this panel to remember. Okay,
Sure,
from you.
sir.
Over to you, ma'am.
The question in respect of my understanding of what is without fear, favor, or prejudice, my understanding is simply as I identified in before, is that being true to the Constitution, being true to fulfilling the roles and functions as required from the public protector in a manner where, I don't know how clear to put it, without fear, favor, prejudice, with courage, with impartiality, without any form of bias, without any form of prejudice to anybody else, and it would simply then be in performing those functions fairly, independently, impartially, and courageously. The businesses that have been mentioned, and I think it would probably address the last question as well, is the director of DMO attorneys, and there's a DMO legal company, and there are other companies of which I may still be registered as a director, and I may not have resigned, or CIPC may not have updated those records as far as my resignation is concerned, but I'm not actively involved in any other companies. I did mention that I was involved in NAWA, but I resigned from NAWA a number of years ago when we dealt with the business rescue, and when we tried to save companies. I was involved in turnaround companies, but those companies are no longer trading or in operation, and they haven't been for a considerable period of time. So it may well be a that my name is reflected as the director of these companies, where the resignation has either not been put forward or has not been updated by CIPC, but I certainly don't have any shareholding or financial interests in those companies. And as far as being fit and proper to remain on the role as attorney, you have to obtain a fit and proper certificate. I recently had to obtain one of those certificates as well because I had attended the judicial skills training, and to be eligible for that training, the Law Society has to provide a certificate confirming that you are fit and proper. I hope I addressed all the questions.
Okay, is there any member who feels that?
In respect to the first question, if I've answered fully. The Public Finance Management Act, in my understanding, is there to really regulate and ensure the expenditure of state funds to prevent the wasteful and fruitless expenditure, but largely also we would concentrate on, it also governs procurement processes, which is then read together with the treasury regulations, supply chain regulations. So insofar as there are any breaches of procurement provisions, as read together with the regulations, one would have reference to the Public Finance Management Act. Does that answer your question? The third lot of questions, what have I done for the underprivileged? A lot of the work that, it was actually in the form of taking on the challenge of doing the long distance marathon in Cape Town, the well-known Two Oceans. And in an effort to raise funds for institutions, different institutions, particularly for kids, for homeless kids or fostered kids, I asked for raised sponsorships through clients and different institutions to sponsor the completion of those races. So, and I did that for raising funds for the different homes and children. The other questions that you addressed, have I answered the questions fully? I beg your pardon?
Accessibility of public protectors'
regional office.
offices.
I think that the accessibility has been identified as a problem by our current public protector, particularly with the closure of the regional offices, and with the, and although because there's the closure of the regional offices, there's no presence. Again, this goes down to a financial challenge that the office has, and the only way one can cure that problem is, I believe there are mobile offices as well, but that may not be in all areas. I maintain my previous view with regards to how do you address those challenges if we're not going to receive any additional funding in terms of applications or requests made, then new initiatives are required, and one may have to then, in terms of some form of partnership, join forces with the private sector or business, because as identified earlier, it's in the interest of the country as a whole to address and to be able to efficiently and effectively address the complaints that's referred to the Office of the Public Protector, and without the necessary resources, officers, capacity, and funds, that becomes an impossibility. And we may well have to partner with business in some manner or form, but as I said, in those partnership, we will ensure that we maintain the independence of the office. We spoke freely about equality and fairness, and how do you deal with if I understood your question correctly, to approach the issues holistically. I think our underlying and our guiding piece of legislation is our Constitution. And as I identified earlier, it has been adopted to heal the divisions of the past and to establish a society that's based on democratic values and social justice and fundamental human rights. But how we achieve that is by ensuring that we maintain those principles of democracy, and we maintain principles of accountability and transparency, control over abuse of power, and improve the quality of lives of all citizens, and ensure that everybody is equally protected by the law. I've dealt with I don't think I need to repeat or give a further explanation in respect of the incident at Sun City with regards to the cell phone.
That one you dealt with it. I think it's fair.
The question was, why would I want to leave private practice after 21 years? The reality of the situation, the truth of the situation, is that I was nominated by my sister. I have a very close relationship with my sister. She knows that as a youngster, I've always said that I believe that I have the ability to change the world and make a difference. The nomination came as a surprise. What came as a bigger surprise was the shortlisting, and so it was not planned.
Very fair.
It was not a planned career move. I didn't withdraw from the process because I was uncertain, because it all came as a big surprise and shock, and I certainly didn't think that I would make or qualify for the shortlisting, particularly having seen the number of candidates on the list, which I would consider all to be very worthy candidates. So I trust that answers your question, ma'am. I may well be misplaced in my viewpoint with regards to business-driven solutions. However, the reality is, and I think, and I don't want to sound repetitive, but the reality is as a nation, if we want to fix the challenges and problems that our country faces, and we do need the support in one form or the other from business, then without compromising the office, the impartiality or the independence of the office, there must be ways, means, and manners in which there could be a partnership or initiatives put in place for the raising of additional funding to ensure that the office is in place in a position to conduct its functions or perform its functions efficiently, timelessly, and effectively, and to be more accessible to everybody in the country, within all regions, in all districts, and within all municipalities. To address your problems such as internet, mobile offices and regional offices, it all comes down to the lack of financial resources, and I have to then repeat what I said earlier with regards to different initiatives. I must confess I have not applied my mind to a funding model. Um, The Office of the Public Protector, I would imagine, would be life-changing in you. I would certainly not consider myself as with a lack of integrity or dishonest because I spent 100 or 200 or even 300 rand in a casino at the machine. I'm sure many of South Africans have some form of de-stress and maybe hoping, just enjoying your hour or two in a casino. I suppose the Office of Public Protector, that would be life-changing and will be frowned upon. So it would be one stress reliever or form of fun, which would now no longer be part of one's life. Do you accept those life changes as part of the position that you fill? I think that I've dealt with the question with regard to the 9 companies. I don't have shareholding in 9 companies. May have been a director of those companies, but I'm certainly not actively involved in those companies any longer. Honorable Chair, I believe that I've addressed all the questions unless there are any more, or unless I haven't adequately answered the questions.
Thank you very much. You've also assisted the members, to understand that we did take the concerns of the members of the public seriously. You will notice that most of the people who are overtly political, even though they are very experienced, unfortunately, they didn't make it on the short list because that was an unambiguous message that we received from the members of the public during that whole week when we opened it for objections. So don't be surprised that you were called in. We tried to apply those principles. And I'm glad that you had no connections with anybody. That would have concerned me if you did. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. We shall hear from us. And good luck.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, Honorable Members.
Thank you. Members, I just want to beg your indulgence here. I was just suggesting a very small change in the program. We have, you are excused, ma'am, you don't have to worry.
I'm just going to
Okay,
release
no
my
problem,
flash drive.
no problem.
If lady can possibly...
I wanted to propose that we take Ms. Kachal Ramchatan Kier, and after her we take Advocate Nonkosi Princess Tsechwai. The reason why I am proposing so is because the other candidates that are left in the list have been booked the accommodation at the hotels. And the Advocate Nonkosi Princess Tsechwai has to drive back home. If we, and as I said, honorable member, don't intimidate me, I am asking if we can make that change. That's all I am asking you. Because she is going to be driving. She is driving to wherever she lives. The other ones, they have drivers. The other candidates, they have drivers that we are paying for, who will be taking them to the hotel. Whereas she has to drive home. So that was my request. If there is any objection, are you okay with that, members? I was saying
It makes sense,
Ms. Kajal Ramchan, then we can take Advocate Nonkosi Princess Tsechwai. Thank you. Thank you very much, members. You are very reasonable. Can the next candidate come through? It's Ms. Kajal Ramjatan Kio.